climb begins just after dusk, when the last light fades into a lavender haze. The mountain looms overhead, ancient and still, carved by centuries of wind and forgotten footsteps. With every step, the air grows colder, thinner, quieter. The path is narrow, winding like a thread through massive stones and stubborn roots, where moss drinks silently from the mist. Each breath becomes an effort, a deliberate rhythm that matches the slow crunch of gravel underfoot. In the distance, the silhouette of the cave opens like a mouth in the mountainside. Its entrance is dark, rimmed with dew and waiting dot. The silence deepens as you approach. The world below shrinks into a tapestry of distant lights and scattered sounds. Up here, the wind is not just colder, it carries voices of a different time. Trees creak like old men clearing their throats. A hawk circles overhead, but makes no sound. You begin to wonder what it would have felt like to be the first to reach this place, when the stars were the only companions, and fear was as natural as hunger. Your hand touches the cool rock wall, as if seeking permission to enter inside. The air shifts, it's warmer than expected, but still dry. The walls of the cave are not jagged, they are smooth in places, as if stroked by forgotten rains or the slow breath of the earth itself. Echoes are gentle here. Even your heartbeat returns to you like a polite knock. Dust stirs with your movement, and the scent is ancient dry minerals, lichen, and something smoky, like old campfires sealed in stone. The darkness ahead is not frightening, but thick, like velvet. You light a torch, and its flicker reveals shadows dancing without fear. You find a flat place, tucked safely between natural shelves of stone. This is where you'll sleep. You unpack the modest bedding woven fibers, worn leather, a woolen blanket smelling faintly of cedar. The cave accepts your presence without resistance, like it has done for generations before you. You sit, breathe, listen. Nothing threatens here, okay? The silence becomes a blanket, heavy and full of meaning. Somewhere above, water drips. Somewhere below, the earth shifts in its eternal slumber. You notice the wind no longer howls, it whispers. Now, through a narrow slit in the cave's wall, the breeze enters like a respectful guest. It carries the coolness of snow, the sharpness of pine, and the ghost of something older, perhaps a hunter's last breath or a prayer carved in wind. You wrap yourself tighter, not from fear, but from reverence. Sleeping here is not just about rest, it is about joining something timeless. This cave has outlived kings and empires. Tonight, you are part of its story. You lie down, watching the firelight flicker against the cave's ceiling. It moves like water, painting stories you can't quite understand. Maybe this is what ancestors saw. Maybe these walls remember them. The rocks feel alive, not in a haunted way, but in a sacred one. Time stretches. You are not alone, but you are not watched. It is a peaceful balance. Outside, the wind continues to comb the mountain, howling gently into the void. The stars rise, unnoticed by the world below. As your eyes close, the cave breathes with you. It exhales a warmth that doesn't come from fire, but from age, a comfort only stone can provide. You drift between waking and sleeping, between past and present. Echoes of the climb fade. Thoughts become soft. The night here is not just darkness, it is memory. You are sleeping inside the earth itself, high above the noise, where time slows and silence becomes sound. Asterisk. The early hours of night in the cave bring a temperature drop so subtle you feel it in your breath before your skin. Each inhale is crisper, as though the air carries stories from higher up the mountain. You shift slightly under your wool blanket, listening to the quiet crackle of the last burning embers. The fire has grown shy, casting only the faintest shadows. In this dimness, you notice something curious. Your heartbeat echoes faintly in the stone, not loudly, but enough to feel like a shared rhythm with the mountain. You wonder how many others slept here before you. Perhaps shepherds in need of shelter from a storm, or monks in retreat, seeking solitude in God's silence. Maybe hunters, chased by nightfall, found this exact place and rested just as you do now. The walls feel worn smooth by more than erosion. They feel inhabited, as though memories linger in their curves. You imagine ancient hands, carving marks, lighting torches, murmuring to the darkness with reverence. The past is not behind you, it's all around. Outside the cave, the wind grows braver. It hums against the opening, playing a tune only stone can understand. Occasionally, it whistles sharply, like an arrow slicing through time, but it never enters forcefully. It brushes the edges, a constant reminder of the world just outside this safe hollow. The cold doesn't bite, but it does lean in, curious. You pull your blanket tighter, nestling into your corner as if burrowing into the mountain's chest. There is safety here, not from locks or walls, but from history's embrace. You reach for a pouch beside you, filled with dried herbs and a few smooth stones. One by one, you place the stones in a circle, a ritual older than words, not because it's needed, but because it feels right. The fire sighs in approval, or maybe it's just the wind again. The herbs give off a soft aroma: lavender, pine needles, crushed sage, familiar smells in an unfamiliar place. You begin to understand how caves were once called sacred. They do not just shelter the body, they cradle the spirit. Lying down again, your hand brushes the cave floor. It is colder now and damp in some places, as though the mountain sweats from deep within. The stone's coolness reminds you that this is not a room built by Manit, it's part of the world's skeleton. Above you, a slow drip forms from condensation, falling into a small hollow with the consistency of a ticking clock. Every drop is a metronome in the symphony of sleep. You close your eyes again, not out of fatigue, but because the cave asks for it. You dream, but not vividly. Shapes of deer crossing snowy fields, a figure lighting a fire with flint and patience, his hands writing symbols into ash, a howl in the distance that isn't a threat, but a warning. These aren't your memories, and yet they feel familiar. The cave whispers in its own language, not in words, but impressions. You drift deeper, as though the stone itself is pulling you inward toward rest, toward quiet, toward something unspoken. By the time the moon passes directly overhead, everything is still. Your breathing has slowed. Even the fire, now only a glow, holds its breath. You are part of the cave now. It's not a visitor, not an intruder. It's one more soul cradled by stone and silence. Somewhere below, the mountain dreams. Somewhere above, stars blink in and out. And in the stillness, you sleep not as a traveler, but as a keeper of the night. Asterisk, you awaken, not with a start, but with a slow return to consciousness. The fire is out now, only a blackened memory ringed with gray ash. The cave is darker than before, yet not suffocating. Your eyes adjust slowly, finding outlines where once there was flame. But the most persistent sensation is sound. The rhythmic dripping of water from the ceiling into a hollowed-out groove in the stone floor. Each drop is patient, steady, deliberate. This sound, you realize, has been echoing since before you arrived, before your lifetime, before history was written. Water, carving stone with nothing but time and silence. It is humbling. The cave doesn't sleep lessons. It listens to you, to the world outside, to the earth within. In its listening, it teaches patience. You sit upright, feeling the coolness in your joints, the dampness in the fibers of your blanket. Time is slowed. You light another small flame, this time with flint and dried moss. The spark catches quickly, dancing briefly in the still air. It reveals again the soft hues of the cave wall's ochre, slate, streaks of iron red. These walls are layered with forgotten stories, Perhaps 1,000 storms passed while this chamber stood unchanged. Perhaps the very formation of this stone began while the first humans still watched fire in awe. You run your fingers along a crevice in the rock and feel not roughness, but history. You sip from a water skin, feel how the cave water tastes slightly of minerals, slightly of earth. There's a grounding sensation in drinking something drawn from the very place where you sleep. It's as if the mountain is sharing its essence with you. Outside, the wind howls once more, and a faint echo returns, not menacing, but hollow, like breath through an ancient instrument. You listen to it like one would listen to a lullaby. Returning to your bedding, you find yourself aware of your heartbeat again. It is slower now. Sleep has softened it, and the cave holds its rhythm gently. You cover yourself again, this time with more intention, not to shield from the cold, but to welcome the warmth of stillness. There is a weight in the silence, not oppressive, but sacred. You inhale deeply, filling your lungs with the silence, and as you exhale, you feel something leave you, perhaps worry, perhaps ego, perhaps time. You lie back and stare once more at the ceiling. Shapes form in the shadows curves of stone, like the outline of forgotten animals. You begin to see a rhythm in the cracks, as though nature had etched hieroglyphs in silence. You wonder what those before you saw here. Did they pray? Did they sing? Did they simply close their eyes and feel the mountain's breath, as you do now? This cave has heard it all. It has no need to remember, it simply is. The cave at midnight is unlike any other place on earth. It holds darkness, not as absence, but as presence, a kind of living stillness that surrounds you without fear. You sit once more by the small fire, feeding it gently with dry twigs gathered. Earlier, the light flickers, but the shadows it casts do not dance wildly. They are steady, anchored to the ancient walls, unmoved by the breeze. These are not the shadows of cities or campsites. They are cave shadows, older than memory. The flame makes the stone glisten in patches, revealing delicate veins of quartz and mica. These tiny crystals reflect the firelight like stars in the miniature sky. You trace them with your eyes, following their chaotic order until your vision relaxes. The mountain is not trying to impress you, it simply exists in its quiet complexity. Even in stillness, it speaks. You breathe in deeply, allowing the smoke to mix with the mountain air. It smells of wood, moss, and something metallic, like time itself. There's a feeling here, just beneath the surface of awareness, that you are being held not by arms, but by space. The walls do not press inward, yet you feel enclosed, protected. The echoes of your own breath stretch far into the chamber, soft and respectful. Each inhale brings grounding. Each exhale carries away the weight of yesterday. In the silence, your thoughts slow, your muscles loosen. The cave becomes a second skin. You take a moment to press your ear to the stone floor. At first, you hear nothing, but then, faintly, low rumble. Not loud, not threatening. Just the hum of the earth, deep and eternal. Maybe it's the shift of plates miles beneath you. Maybe it's the memory of water flowing through underground caverns. Or maybe it's just your own heartbeat, magnified by the stillness. Whatever it is, it reminds you that you are not alone, even when no one else is here. The fire dies slowly, with grace. It does not sputter or snap, it spills out, leaving behind a soft red glow. You do not reach for more wood. The warmth lingers in the stone, and that is enough. You lie back down, resting your head on a rolled cloth. The shadows stretch longer now, almost merging into the rock itself. Your body becomes heavy, your thoughts lighter. The cave is no longer unfamiliar, feels like a forgotten part of you. Outside, the wind is stronger. You hear it rush past the entrance like a river of air, but it does not enter. The mouth of the cave, curved and recessed, shields you from its force. It lets the sound in, not the chill. This wind, you realize, has passed through valleys, forests, and snowfields to reach this place. And now, it sings its story into the cave. You listen with closed eyes, not trying to understand, just to feel. Sleep returns gradually, like mist creeping into a hollow. You do not resist. The stone beneath you, the darkness around you, and the wind beyond you form a perfect harmony. Your last thought before drifting is not a sentence, but a sensation of belonging. You are not just sleeping in a cave. You are sleeping inside the mountain's memory. Asterisk. You awaken before dawn. The cave is darker now than during the night. It is that hour when the world holds its breath, suspended between darkness and light. The air is colder, yet still. There is no fire left, only a faint warmth in the ashes. You sit up, slowly, stretching arms and legs stiff from sleep, despite the cold stone. Your body feels rested as if the silence itself had healed something deep within you. The wind returns, not as a sound, but as a voice. It enters through the narrow slit near the cave's entrance, curling along the walls in invisible spirals. It does not rush or roar, murmurs. You strain to listen, not with your ears, but with your presence. It feels like someone ancient is speaking in a language you once knew. Not words, but patterns, rhythms, a lullaby for those who sleep in stone. You rise and walk to the mouth of the cave. Outside, the sky is just beginning to fade from black to blue. A ribbon of light slices the horizon, revealing distant peaks, still cloaked in shadows. The air bites your cheeks, your fingers, but you do not flinch. You stand at the edge, watching the slow birth of a new day. Clouds drift below you, like rivers of silver mist. From this height, the world below seems to dream. You sit at the threshold, the line between dark and light, warm and cold, silence and wind. Here, you sip from your water skin again, now nearly empty. The water tastes colder, sharper like mountain glass. Every sensation is heightened in this in-between hour. Even your thoughts are clearer, quieter. You are not thinking of home or work or time. You are thinking only of this exact moment. Spend it in a place where time forgets to pass. A bird cries in the distance sharp, high, lonely. You do not see it, but its sound cuts the silence cleanly. You close your eyes and imagine wings slicing through the morning air, catching the first rays of sun. The wind grows braver now, rushing past your face and arms. It is not cruel, it is cleansing. It takes away the clutter in your mind, leaving space for something simpler, awareness. You return inside the cave, but keep your gaze fixed on the light outside. It grows stronger, golden now. The cave is no longer a place of night. It has become a sanctuary at the edge of day. You sit cross-legged on the stone, feeling the mountain breathe beneath you. No walls here, only thresholds, only balance. The cave is both shelter and witness. As dawn finally spills over the peaks, you prepare to lie back down for a little longer. The light will not reach deep into the chamber. You will sleep again, briefly, cradled in the cool embrace of ancient rock. You smile, without reason, and close your eyes once more. The wind speaks, the cave listens, and you, nestled in both, drift again into a silence that knows your name. Asterisk. The sun now climbs steadily beyond the peaks. The light it offers enters the cave with discretion. Muted golden hue touches the stone just inside the entrance, gliding gently along the floor like a ribbon of warmth laid by invisible hands. You sit in its path, letting it touch your cheek. The heat is not strong, but it is honest. Your body, slowly waking, responds not with motion, but with awareness. The breath you take in feels deeper. The air here is cooler, thinner, but alive. It tastes like quartz and pine in the quiet wisdom of untouched air. You rise with care, not because you are sore, but because haste no longer lives in your body. Your movements mirrored the mountain, measured, firm, patient. You press your palm against the cave wall and feel it pulse, not literally, but with memory. It remembers that you slept here, that you listened, that you breathed slowly through the night and asked nothing in return. And because of that, the cave has offered something back: peace, stillness, belonging as you step to the mouth of the cave. The wind returns once more, soft and thin like silk over skin. It carries no message now, only presence. Let it pass through your open hands. Around you, the horizon has taken on the colors of breath-misty blue, faint amber, the silver trace of receding darkness. You do not need to understand this beauty. You only need to witness it. You stand quietly, letting your heartbeat sync with the rhythm of the valley below, which now begins to stir inside again. You drink slowly from your flask, each swallow cold and clear. The water tastes cleaner now, as if your tongue has forgotten additives and remembers only streams. You eat a small handful of dried fruit, chewing mindfully, honoring the act not as consumption, but connection. Every sensation is clearer in this place. Even hunger feels sacred, like a signal between soul and form. You return to your blanket, but do not lie down. Instead, you sit in stillness, eyes half closed, palms resting on stone. You do not meditate, you dissolve into air, to rock, into soundlessness. You have no questions. The mountain does not answer anyway. It only offers its presence, its ancient patience, its rhythm that does not ask to be followed, but invites you to remember. Asterisk, as the cave begins to fill with golden air. You rise and walk toward a darker corner of the chamber where sunlight never reaches here. The wall curves inward like a question, and along its surface you notice something unexpected: markings, not carvings, not graffiti, but impressions, faint, irregular patterns in the stone. You run your fingers across them gently and realize these are not accidents. These are echoes of someone else, someone who once knelt here just as you do now. You lower yourself to the ground and trace the patterns with your fingertips. They might be symbols, they might be remnants of soot or oils. They might be nothing more than the suggestion of presence. But in your stillness, you feel them. You feel the breath of whoever left them behind. Perhaps a traveler like you, perhaps a hunter, perhaps no one you could imagine. But they were here, and they touched this stone. And now, so do you. The cave does not offer clarity. It offers mystery. And somehow, that is more nourishing. You lean your head against the wall and close your eyes. For a moment, there is no time, no history. Only the gentle sensation of being part of something ancient and unknowable. The wall is cold against your cheek, but it does not reject you. It accepts your warmth the way it accepted those before you. You open your eyes and notice the light, and the cave has shifted. It now glows in soft curves across the floor, following the lines you made in the dust the night before. You rise and walk to the entrance again, letting the sun meet your face. The wind has calmed. The valley below has woken. But here, in the mouth of the cave, you are outside of that rhythm. You are still in between. By midday, the cave becomes a sanctuary of filtered light and softened to silence. The wind passes less frequently now, as though respecting the warmth. You sit just inside the entrance, where your body can drink from the sun while your back remains sheltered by shadow. Before you, the sky stretches wide and pale. The clouds below drift in ribbons, curling through valleys you can no longer name. You no longer care to name them. You are not here to catalog. You are here to witness and to disappear within the witnessing. You stand slowly, walking to the very edge where stone meets sky. Your bare feet feel every crack, every ridge. The wind returns briefly to greet you, no longer inquisitive, but intimate. It swirls around your knees, touches your fingers, lingers on your neck. You welcome it. It is no longer a stranger. Has become a companion. Okay? A breath from the mountain itself. You sit again on the ledge and let your legs dangle. Far below, a hawk rides the updraft, circling without effort. You watch it with envy, not because you wish to fly, but because you admire its acceptance. The bird does not fight the wind. It leans into it. You take a breath and imagine yourself lighter. Less body, more air, okay? More presence, back inside. The cave feels warmer than it has in days. You lie down again, eyes open, watching sunlight shift across the ceiling. You notice patterns you hadn't seen before, veins of mineral, specks of mica, the faint shimmer of moisture drying into memory. These details don't demand attention, but they reward it. You breathe in, and the cave breathes with you. Your eyes close without effort. Your breath slows. You are not trying to sleep. You are simply letting go of the need to be awake. And in that letting go, you fall deeper into the mountain's rhythm. A rhythm that asks for nothing, that judges nothing, that only holds asterisk later. In the day, the cave becomes almost golden inside. The sun, now at its highest, stretches its fingers deep into the entrance, chasing shadows across the floor. You wake again, though you weren't fully asleep, just resting within a slower rhythm. Your body has adapted to the pace of stone. You rise without stiffness. Your thoughts move like the mist, slow, soft. UNTANGLED. You gather small stones from near the entrance, each one smooth and cold. With no plan, you begin arranging them on the floor. A circle, then a second, thin lines between them, like a map or a mandala. It's not for decoration. It's not for ceremony. It's a ritual of stillness and active creation without urgency. Your hands move gently. Your breath deepens. You are not trying to make something. You are letting something be made. Once finished, you sit before it, cross-legged, hands on knees. The silence returns not as absence, but as a friend. You breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. The cave echoes softly with the rhythm. You focus on the space between breaths, the space between thoughts. Here, even your pulse feels like part of the stone. It doesn't matter how long you sit. There is no time, only stillness. Eventually, you stretch your arms overhead and lean back. The sky outside is now bright and open. Clouds drift lazily, unconcerned. You close your eyes and feel the sun against your skin. The mountain does not speak, but it does respond. The cave is warmer now. It holds you more gently. Okay? You lie back down, letting your body find its shape in the stone again. You need no blanket, no fire, only breath. You stare at the ceiling once more, tracing imaginary constellations in the dark patches. You think of the people who carved symbols into these walls, who watched firelight dance across the stone, just like you. They too sat in silence. They too placed stones in circles. The ritual is not new. The teasy is remembered. Through you. Asterisk afternoon deepens, and the golden light inside the cave begins to fade again. Shadows return slowly, inching across the floor like memories crawling back into place. You lie in stillness, no longer needing to move. Your breath is slow. Your limbs are heavy. Your mind is soft. You are drifting not away, but further in, into the quiet that holds you like water holds stone. The cave has cooled again. Not cold, but calm. You feel it on your skin like a hush, the kind of hush that follows sacred things. You turn to your side, facing the wall now. It is close, detailed, imperfect. You trace its shape with your eyes, noticing every groove and fleck. It is not smooth. It is not symmetrical. But it is honest, and that honesty is comforting. You do not need perfection to rest. You close your eyes and listen. A drip echoes from deeper inside. The wind murmurs faintly at the entrance. A pebble shifts somewhere behind you. Nothing startling, just life rearranging itself slowly. It is never still, but it never hurries. You match its pace. You become its breath. One inhale, one exhale, one eternity of now. Asterisk, you wake, but the world around you hasn't changed. There is no clear line between sleep and waking here. No alarm, no sunbeam, no signal. The cave has its own rhythm, and you are now tuned to it like a stone in a stream shaped, not rushed. You rise slowly, not because you are tired, but because there is no urgency in your muscles anymore. Your bones stretch with memory rather than command. Every part of your body speaks in whispers now, learned from the hush of the mountain dot. Your hand moves along the cold stone as you walk toward the entrance again, and in the dim light, you realize there is no real morning in a cave. Only the soft suggestion of day. Outside, the sky has lightened to a dull gray blue, but here, inside, the stones embrace. Time barely exists. You sit, cross-legged, your blanket still wrapped around you, and stare outward, not to watch, but to feel. The air is cool against your face, but it no longer startles. It welcomes you like a familiar breath. You begin to sense something else, something not external, but internal. A stillness you didn't know could belong to you. A silence that fills not just your ears, but your ribs, your spine, your throat. You breathe in deeply, and even the breath feels less like yours and more like the mountains. It enters, fills, and exits without effort. You are not in charge of anything here. You're only participating in the movement of stillness. Inhaling, not to survive, but to remember. You rise and take a few slow steps inside, your feet brushing the soft layer of dust and ash. You do not clean it. You leave it as it is, a record of your passing, a trace of your presence. You run your fingers along the wall again, noticing new patterns you had not seen before. Not markings, but subtle layers of texture, stone worn, smooth in one place, rough in another. Your hand glides, learning the memory of rock. Not memorizing, just feeling at the far end of the chamber. You kneel near the basin where water collects. The drip continues, steady, as always. It is the only sound that dares to interrupt the silence, and even then, it does so with grace. You stare into the water, watching your reflection warp with each ripple. Your face does not look tired, nor young. It looks still, as though the cave has carved its shape into you, subtly, slowly, one breath at a time. You sit beside the basin for a long time, perhaps hours, or maybe minutes. There is no way to know. You stopped measuring time yesterday, or was it days ago? The cave does not care. It carries centuries in its bones, and it asks nothing from you but presence. That is enough. Hear the wind pass again outside the entrance, but it is faint now, filtered through layers of stone. It whispers like a ghost with nothing left. To prove, you lie back again, eyes open, staring at the same ceiling you have stared at before. But this time, you notice new curves, new cracks. The cave continues to reveal itself, not quickly, but patiently, like someone telling a story with no need to reach the end. You feel yourself growing quiet again, not silent from exhaustion, but from fullness. There is nothing more to say here, only to feel, only to be. Your fingers curl against the blanket. Your chest rises and falls slowly. You feel the heartbeat in your throat, the heaviness in your limbs. You are more stone now than flesh, more breath than voice, more stillness than thought. You are learning the oldest language, the one spoken by things that never speak. And in this wordless lesson, you close your eyes, not to escape, but to join the mountain in its remembering. Sleep returns, without asking permission. The kind of sleep that holds, not hides. You are not unconscious. You are embraced. You are not lost. You are known. The cave, in all its age, hums with your breath. Time stands outside, waiting. But inside this chamber, you have stepped beyond clocks, beyond names, beyond needing to know what hour it is. The cave knows no time, and now neither do you. The deeper you sit in stillness, the more you begin to hear things that were always there. Not sounds in the ordinary sense, but vibrations, shifts, subtle voices buried inside stone. Lying awake in the belly of the cave, you begin to sense a murmur under the floor. It doesn't speak in syllables. It speaks in rhythm. A low, faint humming that might be the memory of the earth turning. You press your palm flat against the ground and feel it not as noise, but as presence. Cave is alive, not with motion, but with remembering. You sit up in darkness, not afraid, but curious. You feel no urge to light the fire. The blackness here is not threatening, it is complete. You move slowly toward the deepest part of the cave, guided by the gentle brush of your fingers on the wall. The stone is cold, but not unwelcoming. You sense its texture changing under your touch, smooth, rough, wet, warm. Each shift speaks of time, pressure, silence. You kneel beside a ridge and breathe, listening. Your own breath becomes louder in your ears now, a tide moving in and out. You match it to the faint dripping from the basin, sinking your body to the cave's heartbeat. The drip echoes once, twice, then disappears into the stillness. You are not counting seconds. You are listening between them. That's where the cave truly speaks, in the pauses, in the spaces no one else waits for. You lean into the silence and let it take you somewhere. Above, you hear the shifting of wind, an old song played on invisible strings. You imagine it threading through cracks in the rock, weaving patterns in the dust, dancing around bones that haven't moved in centuries. The cave does not reveal all at once. It reveals in hints, in whispers, in echoes that never return the same way twice. You are learning to wait, to ask nothing, to be content with pieces. You return slowly to your bedding, footsteps leaving shallow impressions in the ash. The fire has gone cold, but the stone beneath you holds the memory of its warmth. You lie down again and pull the blanket over your chest, feeling the texture of the wool against your skin. The cave accepts you once again as a companion, not as a guest, not as an owner, but as a listener. And you honored that role with quiet. Your thoughts, once sharp, now drift like mist over still water. You see shapes in your mind's spirals, veins, the slow crack of rock becoming crystal. These are not dreams. They are impressions, felt rather than seen, understood rather than defined. The cave does not send you messages. It shows you how to hear without needing language. You close your eyes, and still, you see dot. There is peace here that does not come from comfort. It comes from surrender, from not needing to name what you feel, from not chasing light or time or understanding. You exhale long and slow. The sound disappears into the dark, like a secret too sacred to keep. You feel the silence respond, loudly, but closely, like breath against your cheek. Sleep comes again, but now it feels different. Not something you fall into, but something that rises up around you, folds you gently into the folds of rock and dust and darkness. You were carried, not dragged, invited, not demanded. Your limbs become heavier, your thoughts lighter. The cave hums a lullaby with no melody, only memory. You sleep inside that sound, and even as you drift, part of you stays awake, the part that listens, the part that remembers, the part that waits, because this cave is not a place you pass through. It is a place that enters you, lives within you, and follows you into your dreams. Asterisk dreams in the cave arrive slowly, like mist rising from the skin of the earth. They do not demand entry. They seep in, curl around you, and linger without edges. Tonight, your sleep has no shape, only waves of sensation. You are not dreaming images, but moods. A sense of walking through trees that whisper, a flicker of firelight on stone, a silence that holds breath like a vessel. You are not the author of these dreams. You are the guest. In the cave, your host offers its memory as your guide. You awaken briefly, eyes fluttering open to blackness. You are not startled, just aware. The fire is long dead, and the air is cooler now, but the warmth in your chest remains. You turn your head and listen. A single drop falls into the basin, echoing like a note struck in a hollow drum. That sound is the line between sleep and waking. Key, write it, floating there, not moving, not needing to move. The darkness is not empty. It is full of things that do not need to be seen. You sit up slowly and light a single piece of resin. The flame is small, blue, almost transparent, glows against your fingers and sends a thin trail of smoke upward. You watch the smoke rise, spiral, shift, vanish. You do not interrupt it. You do not shape it. You only witness its journey. And in that observation, you feel yourself becoming like it, lighter, looser, undefined. The flame flickers, dances once, and goes out. But the smoke remains. You lie back again and breathe in what remains of the scent-sharp mineral, sweet. It enters your lungs with the clarity of snowmelt and sits in your chest like a remembered name. You hold the breath for a moment, not because you must, but because you want to honor it. Then slowly, you exhale and let everything that is not stillness go with it. You feel your body melt once more into the floor. The stone accepts you without resistance. As your eyes close again, sleep rises not as a wave, but as a cloud. You do not drop into it. You are lifted, held, carried, and the dreams return. This time, with color. You see soft greens, earthen reds, the gold of dried grass. You hear wind in trees that no longer exist. You feel the echo of footsteps that once moved through these chambers. And you know, these dreams are not yours alone. They belong to the cave. You sleep as one who is being remembered, not forgotten. You are held in a cradle of memory older than language. The cave dreams with you, not beside you, but through you. You are the dream now, and it dreams of peace, of slowness, of breath that takes its time. You do not need to wake. You only need to remain present within the sleep. Time does not pass here. It pulses like a second heart, like the breath of earth itself, even in your deepest dreaming. You remain aware of the weight of the blanket, the texture of the stone. You are not disconnected. You are deeper within. The cave's silence surrounds every thought like snow on a quiet field. No fear rises, no urgency, only stillness, only the soft turning of inner worlds, only the hum that tells you you are safe, you are known, you are held. You drift in and out of layers. Some dreams speak in light, others in touch, others in feeling alone, but all share the same undercurrent, the sacred quiet that now lives within you. You are not sleeping. You are becoming. You are being reshaped by silence, realigned by gravity, remade in the image of stillness. The cave does not change you with force. It changes you with patience. When the stars above the mountains spin unseen behind stone and sky, you lie still and smile and sleep. Not because of joy, but because of union. You are no longer a visitor. You are part of the dreaming, part of the dark, part of the breath that curls like smoke and leaves no trace but remains forever. Asterisk. There is a moment, just before the sky begins to think of light, when the cave becomes utterly still, not quiet still. It is the kind of stillness that holds your breath for you, that makes sound too sacred to disturb. You awaken in this hour, not with motion, but with awareness. Your eyes open to nothingness, and yet you see everything. The curve of the ceiling, the faint outline of your hands, the breath in your chest, soft, rounded, slow. You are not frightened. You are folded into the silence like a note placed gently between pages. You sit up and feel the cool stone beneath your fingers, familiar now, almost warm from memory. You move without a sound, not out of caution, but respect. The cave watches you in its own way, not with judgment, but with patience. You rise slowly and walk barefoot to the entrance, where the first hint of dawn hides just below the horizon. The air is colder here, kisses your skin like glass. You inhale it like prayer, and it fills you with something holy. The valley below is still cloaked in fog, clouds sleeping in the trees. No bird calls, no wind. Even the stars seem to have dimmed their brightness in reverence for this hour. You step just outside, feel the gravel press into your feet, and stretch your arms wide. The sky presses down gently, not as weight, but as belonging. You are not under the stars. You are part of their story now, chapter written in breath and stone. You return inside and light no fire. You do not need warmth. The stillness itself is enough. You sit in the center of your stone circle, fingers resting lightly on your knees, and close your eyes. Your thoughts rise, then vanish. You do not chase them. You do not answer them. Let them pass, like mist rolling off a ridge. The only sound now is your breath and the memory of the last drip in the basin. Everything else has folded itself into waiting dot. You begin to hum not from habit, but from the shape of the silence. A low note, round and slow. It fills the chamber softly, vibrates gently in your chest. The stone does not echo it. It receives it, holds it, like a friend taking a secret into their heart. You continue, humming, eyes closed, body unmoving, soul wide open. The sound is not music, it is alignment. The hum of something returning home. When the sound stops, you do not notice. You are already inside the silence again, deeper than before. You rest your hands on the floor and feel a soft warmth, perhaps from the friction of your presence or the echo of your hum. Either way, it welcomes you. You lie back again, arms stretched to your sides, eyes open to the black ceiling. It does not press down. It holds still, like breath, waiting for breath. The sky beyond the cave mouth begins to shift just slightly. A tint of lavender at the edge of the fog. A whisper of color that is not light, but its intention. You do not rise. You remain in your place. You let the mountain breathe first. Let the cave decide how to greet the day. You are no longer in command. You are in communion. Your stillness is not absence, it is offering. You drift again, not asleep, not awake, held in the space between. Time does not move. Here it deepens. The cave grows warmer, somehow. It's not in temperature, but in presence. It has accepted you, not as visitor, not as voice, but as echo. And in the stillest hour, you finally understand. Stillness is not silence. It is memory resting. The cave teaches without speaking. It reveals truth, not through words, but through texture, shadow, and the placement of breath. You begin to notice the shape of silence, how it bends around your shoulders, how it settles into corners, how it deepens when you stop trying to fill it. You sit in the hollow center of the cave, eyes open but unfocused, and watch the dust float in the beams of soft morning light. Each mote glides slowly, turning in unseen currents, dancing with a quiet in ways language cannot follow. You run your fingers across the floor again. tracing the grains of stone like lines in a sacred book. There are patterns here, but they do not shout. They hum. Veins of iron, faint scratches, the trace of long-dried water. Each tells a story older than fire, more patient than stars. You feel your chest rise not with urgency, but with reverence. The silence isn't empty. It is full of things waiting to be seen. You breathe deeper, and the silence expands. You return to the small fire circle you built days ago. The stones are cold, but not lifeless. You sit before them, legs crossed, hands open. You do not light the fire, only watch. You imagine it burning again, not because you need heat, but because fire is a kind of memory. You close your eyes and see a torrent flame licking the air, casting flickering shadows on the curved wall. The cave remembers it, and so do you. Even without light, its warmth lingers in your bones. You hear the wind rise again, softly this time. It does not enter fully. Heat brushes the mouth of the cave, like a curtain being lifted slightly. You listen, not to the wind's cry, but to what it leaves behind. The silence that follows is deeper than before. It wraps around your ankles, climbs. Your spine settles behind your eyes. You are not afraid of it. You are shaped by it, carved slowly, the way water smooths stone. You lie down and close your eyes. The blanket over you, a little heavier now, not with weight, but with gravity. The air is cooler, but no longer bites. It slides across your skin like a hand smoothing hair. You exhale slowly and feel your ribs soften. You are becoming quieter with each breath, not just on the outside, but within. The noise you once carried has dissolved. In its place, listening, and now the silence speaks, not in sentences, but in memories you didn't know you had. A hand from your childhood, the scent of wood smoke in autumn, the soft thud of footsteps on forest soil. They come and go like birds passing through, fog never stopping, always felt. You do not chase them, you let them pass. The cave is not here to make you remember. It is here to let you rest in what never left. You sleep, briefly, and dream of stone that breathes, walls that sigh, earth that hums beneath your spine. It is not a dream of escaping, it's a dream of return. You awaken without opening your eyes, aware of your heartbeat, aware of the curve of your neck, aware of the warmth where your body meets the floor. You stay there, not because you must, but because leaving would mean stepping away from a kind of truth. Eventually, you rise, slowly, stretching with the grace of someone who has nothing to prove. You sit once more at the cave's edge, the light now pouring into the valley below in gold and silver sheets. You watch clouds drift like thought. You do not speak. You simply exist, shaped by silence, and aware that for the first time in a long time, you no longer fear the quiet. You are shaped by it, and you are grateful. Asterix, the cave, by now has become more than a shelter. It is a teacher. And this morning, it speaks not with light nor silence, but with the persistent voice of water. Somewhere deep within the mountain's stone belly, a slow, steady dripping resumes. Each drop echoes in the chamber like a single thought falling into stillness. It is not a loud sound, but it is profound. You lie there, listening, barely breathing, allowing each note to stretch out across the silence like ink on parchment. The rhythm is uneven, yet constant, irregular, yet deliberate like the breathing of the earth. You sit up slowly, your body now accustomed to the cave's chill and the stone's firm embrace. The air is thick with moisture, a reminder of how close the sky is to rain. You stretch your legs, pressing your palms to the floor, feeling the dampness that has crept in overnight. It is not unpleasant, it's grounding. The cave is alive not in the way animals are, but in its own ancient way. Every surface tells a story. The walls, with their streaks of mineral color, show the slow passage of centuries. The floor, now slightly slick, reflects your shape in ripples. You are not alone here. You are surrounded by history made tangible. You gather yourself and walk barefoot toward the darker part of the cave where the dripping comes from. The stone here is colder, the air denser. As you get closer, you see a shallow depression in the floor, small natural basin, carved by water over time. It is half full now, clear and motionless, except when touched by a drop. You kneel before it, captivated. Each drop sends a ripple outward, gentle, fragile, then gone. You stare until your reflection appears a ghost-like image, wavering between stone and shadow. And in that moment, you realize something beautiful. The cave does not reflect you with mirrors or glass, but with water, silence, and time. You cup your hands into the basin and bring the cold water to your lips. It tastes like earth and rain, sharp and metallic, but clean. It awakens something in you, not hunger, not thirst, but remembrance. You feel more alert, more open. Not like waking from sleep, but like remembering who you are beneath all the noise of the world. You sit on the stone, legs crossed, hands resting gently on your knees. No thoughts intrude, no memories press. You are here, and here is enough outside. The wind has not yet returned. It is as if the mountain is waiting, listening, holding its breath while you sit in its core. The dripping continues, the only sound. You begin to breathe in sync with it. Inhale with the drop, exhale with the silence. Inhale, exhale, and something begins to happen. Not externally, internally. You feel yourself letting go of the need to define this moment. You no longer ask what time it is, how long you've been here, or what comes next. The cave doesn't ask questions, it only offers presence. As the day begins to rise slowly outside, a golden hue starts to gently seep into the cave once more. But this time, something is different. The light doesn't rush in like an invading force. It filters carefully, as if aware of the sanctity it's entering. You sit on the same stone where you slept, now warmed slightly from your body's lingering heat, and watch the patterns on the wall shift with the rising sun. The warmth of the light does not chase the cold away entirely, it mingles with it, blending contrasts into a kind of living equilibrium. You reach out and touch the wall beside you, and for the first time, the stone doesn't feel indifferent. It feels familiar, as though your presence has been absorbed, memorized, and returned with quiet affection. You begin to wonder about memory, not the kind that lives in your mind, but the kind held in places, in textures, in the temperature of rock. Has the cave recorded your breath, your stillness, your quiet thoughts whispered in half sleep? You have felt changed by the cave, but has it been changed by you? You think of all those who came before, who lay on these same stones, whose fires burned here, whose tears may have fallen silently into the same crevices you now sleep beside. Those echoes still linger, not as ghosts, but as warmth. The warmth of memory etched, not in language, but in stillness. You rise and stretch, arms high, above your head, spine arching against the cold air that greets you. It wraps around you like a shawl, not biting, not rude, just present. You walk barefoot to the edge of the cave, where the golden light is most concentrated. It floods the ground, warming the toes, crawling up your legs in slow gradients. The warmth is real, but also symbolic. You sense something important is happening, not an event, a realization, a shift. You have stopped looking at the mountain as something separate. It no longer looms. It surrounds, it accepts. Sitting again, you take a smooth stone from your pouch and press it against your chest. It's cold at first, but it absorbs your heat quickly. You imagine it carrying your heartbeat into the floor. You imagine the stone whispering your name to the walls. You begin to breathe slowly, eyes half closed, feeling the wind begin to return. This time, it comes not as a gust, but as a slow exhale down the mountainside. It brushes the mouth of the cave like a sigh, not of sadness, but of recognition. It knows you now. You have become part of the weather. The light grows stronger now, reaching further into the cave. Your shadow stretches across the stone like a second self. You watch it dance gently as the wind nudges it. For a brief moment, it looks like someone else, entirely a pilgrim from long ago, a monk, a wanderer. And then you realize, perhaps every shadow here is shared. Perhaps all who have come before still visit, still drift across these walls in light and air. As you lie back once more, it's time in the warmest patch of stone. You let your eyes close not to escape, but to receive. You do not need dreams. You only need this moment. It's the warmth of stone beneath you, the breeze of recognition above you, and the golden memory of light around you. This is what it means to belong. Asterisk, by now, the cave has begun to reshape not only your thoughts, but also how your body moves, rests, and relates to time itself. What once felt hard and uncomfortable now feels natural. Your muscles have memorized the contour of the floor. Your breath adjusts naturally to the coolness of morning. And your eyes embrace the gentle shadows without strain. You're no longer sleeping in the cave. You're sleeping as the cave, steady, unmoving, and at peace. Even your blood seems to pulse at a slower rhythm, now deeper, quieter, closer to the center of the earth. When you wake, there is no hurry, no alarm, no artificial light. Your body rises by instinct, carried by the soft clarity of dawn that begins to paint the edges of the entrance with amber light. You feel no hunger the way you used to, no thirst as before. Something more essential is being nourished here, a kind of spiritual feeding that comes from silence. It's from the absence of stimulation, from the depth of solitude. Your body responds to this nourishment with gratitude, like a wild creature remembering its original pace. As you stretch your arms overhead, your joints release gentle cracks. Even this sound has beauty to it, like the creak of wood before fire, like the first echo of a note before a song begins. You walk to the brightest part of the cave and kneel, not in prayer exactly, but in spontaneous reverence. There is something sacred in simply being alive here. You feel it in your bones, in the same place where cold used to ache, now filled with quiet understanding. The wind today feels different. There is moisture in it, as if it carries an announcement. The brushes your face gently, like a soft warning, like a touch from someone who needs you to listen. You stay perfectly still. The hairs on your arms rise not from cold, but from recognition. Something in the air has changed, perhaps in the mountain, perhaps in you. And you answer, not with action, but with attention. You honor the wind by listening. You sit again, this time with your back against a part of the wall that held the warmth from yesterday's light. The contrast with the cool air is delicious. There, with your eyes closed, you begin to breathe more slowly. You feel your ribs expand and contract, as if your own body were a chamber of echo. And, without trying, you begin to hear what lives inside: the soft churn of digestion, the whisper of tendons, the slow creak of shoulders relaxing. All of it becomes music. All of it becomes prayer. You remain there, not waiting, just allowing. And the cave, as always, demands nothing. It simply holds you, the way the earth holds the sea, the way time holds eternity, without urgency, without judgment, without end. Asterisk, by the 19th day, your breath no longer belongs to you alone. It seems to have become part of the rhythm of the cave itself. Every inhale matches the space between drips of water. Every exhale mirrors the slow sway of wind passing outside. When you move now, you feel as though you're carrying the weight of stillness on your shoulders, not as a burden, but as a cloak. You've become slower, Yes, but not with fatigue, with awareness, with presence, with a deep remembering that you were never meant to live fast. The fire, now long dormant, is not missed. Its warmth remains in memory, in the stone, in the very marrow of your bones. You no longer light it out of necessity. Warmth, you've discovered, is not only found in flame. It's in the shape of the cave when it holds you, in the texture of breath wrapped in stillness, in the way the earth hums softly under your spine when you lie down. The fire lives on not in ash, but in presence, and you no longer fear the dark, for the dark no longer feels empty. Today, you remain inside. The light outside is bright, but the cave has drawn you inward, cradles you in shadow, inviting you deeper. You crawl to a corner you haven't explored. Before, the air here is heavier, but not stale. It feels dense with memory, as if many breaths lingered in this place. You sit and close your eyes, letting the dark wrap around your face like velvet. You no longer resist silence. You court it, breathe it in like sacred incense, each inhale deeper than the last. The wind moves again, higher now, far above the mouth of the cave. It does not call you. It circles, spirals. It waits. You are not meant to answer it today. Today, the cave is your world, and it begins to offer you dreams while you're still awake. Shapes form behind your closed eye spirals of stone tunnels that seem to stretch forever, lights that pulse from within the rock. You're not imagining them, you're witnessing them. This is the cave dreaming with you. You lie back, slowly, placing your hands flat against the stone floor. You feel it thrum, barely, like the chest of a sleeping animal. You wonder if the mountain itself breathes in sleep, if somewhere in its core a heart beats so slowly that only caves can hear it. And maybe, just maybe, you have learned to hear it too. That thought doesn't frighten you. It comforts you. It reminds you that even giants sleep. Even the earth knows how to rest. The day passes without markers. No time, no meals, no fire. Just breath and bone and earth. Your thoughts are fewer now. They come like leaves in wind float and drift past. Gone. You do not hold them. You watch them pass. You become the watcher. The cave has taught you not to speak unless there is something sacred to say. And so, you say nothing. And in that, you say everything. When night comes, it does not fall. It returns, quietly, lovingly. The light fades, but you do not reach for it. You do not miss it. You rest in the dark as in a cradle. You pull the blanket over your body and feel how it has taken on the scent of stone and stillness. Longer a thing from outside. It is part of the mountain now, like you, like your breath, like the silence. And as you drift into sleep, you feel the cave's breath match your own. It is not a metaphor. It is not imagination. It is rhythm, harmony, a deep, sacred joining. You sleep, and the cave dreams with you, not beside you, through you, within you, 'cause now the cave is no longer a place. It is a being, and you are part of its mind. You awaken before the light, and the first thing you feel is presence. Not yours, but the cave's. It presses gently into your ribs, your spine, your breath, as if it is aware you're preparing to leave. You sit up slowly, and your body protests, not with pain, but with reluctance. You've become part of this place, and now to move feels like separation. But you rise, and as your feet press into the stone, the cave seems to remember your shape. Its floor receives you like a second skin. You begin folding your blanket, brushing away the dust and ash without thinking. Your hands move slower than usual, your fingers lingering longer over each fold. You touch each object flint pouch, bold with reverence, as if saying goodbye, not because they will be lost, but because they are part of a ritual you will carry forward. You begin to realize you are no longer packing to leave a cave. You are preparing to leave a cathedral. Before stepping outside, you walk once more, to each corner, the basin, the wall, the circle of stones. Each holds memory, now goes of breath, of thought, of silence. You place your hand on the wall and feel the cool stillness pulse beneath your palm. It does not stop you. It does not beg, okay? But it does hold your presence, as if promising it won't forget, okay? You whisper no words, okay? Doesn't need them. It remembers through silence. Outside, the sky begins to blush with dawn. The wind greets you gently, almost shyly, as if unsure how to welcome one who has become so still. You wrap your blanket around your shoulders and take one last look at the entrance. It appears smaller now, more like a doorway to a dream than a crack in stone. You bow not from ritual, but from instinct. You do not say, thank you. You feel it, fully, and that is enough. As you descend, the world slowly returns. Trees, sound, movement. Gravity feels different now, more noticeable. Each step down the mountain is a choice. You are carrying something that cannot be seen. Your silence has weight now. Your breath holds stories. The pace of your walk is slower, not from weakness, but from reverence. You have known stillness, and stillness does not leave easily. You pause halfway down, looking back. The cave is hidden now, veiled behind rock and distance, but it is not gone. You feel it in your spine, in your breath, in the space between your thoughts. You press your hand to your chest, feeling the slow rhythm there. The cave beat, the mountain hum. You do not belong to noise anymore. You belong to echo. When you reach the forest edge, birds begin to sing. Their song is beautiful, but sharp, fast, bright. You smile, but you do not answer. You are still listening to a different music. One that lingers in the soles of your feet, in the curve of your palms, in the back of your throat. You walk through leaves and roots and sun without speaking. The cave is behind you, but it is also within you. And long after you are gone, the cave will still hold your breath in its walls, your footsteps in its dust, your warmth in its stone. You leave nothing behind that can be touched, but you leave a memory. And the cave remembers everything. Asterix, you wake in the earliest part of morning, when light has not yet touched the world, and silence becomes almost audible. The cave around you is still, but not in the way of absence. It is alive with breath. Your breath carved into its stillness like etchings on stone. You lie there, unmoving, listening to the way your chest rises and falls. Each inhale feels like a tide drawing stone inward. Each exhale, a release into ancient memory. You realize you no longer own this breath. You share it with the cave, with the wind, with the unseen watchers of time that dwell in stone. You sit slowly, and even that motion feels sacred. You do not stretch. You simply shift your shape within the mountain's rhythm. You move your blanket aside and press your hands to the stone floor. It is cool, as always, but it no longer surprises you. The stone has become your calendar, your compass, your cradle. You do not look for clocks or count sunrises anymore. You measure days and breaths and stillness and echoes that only come when you are silent enough to hear them. You walk barefoot toward the entrance, where the wind has already begun to slip through the narrow opening. It brushes your face like an old friend, greeting you not with urgency, but familiarity. The horizon is still dark, but the sky is preparing to wake. You step into the threshold and sit with your knees pulled close to your chest. The cold nips gently at your toes, reminding you that this world still moves even if your spirit now prefers to sit. You close your eyes, not to shut out the world, but to feel it more clearly. The wind hums a low chord in the crevices of the rocks around you. Your heart beats slows. Your fingers rest lightly on your knees. You do not meditate. You become still. You do not pray. You listen. You do not imagine. You remember. 'Cause now you understand the cave is not a place for thinking. It is a place for knowing. And knowing arrives only when the noise of wandering dies. When you open your eyes, the first gold of day has broken the sky's edge. You do not smile, but something inside you softens. You remain in place, letting the light reach you slowly. It doesn't rush in, extends itself carefully, the way one hand might reach for another across a long silence. You welcome the warmth on your skin, not as a gift, but as a recognition. You are seen, you are known. You are part of the light's plan. You return inside only once the wind begins to shift. It carries new cold now, sharper, tinged with the scent of pine and distance. You lie back down, wrapping your blanket tightly, and stare at the ceiling one last time before sleep takes you again. The ceiling hasn't changed, but you have. You see more than shadow now. You see language in the cracks. You see softness in the hard edges. You see yourself in the stillness. You breathe deeply once more and close your eyes. The cave receives you not as a guest, but as an echo, continuation of every breath ever taken within its walls. You feel yourself sink again, not in defeat, but in reverence, like a leaf settling on water, like snow resting atop branches. You are weightless in the place that taught you the value of weight. Sleep folds over you like mist across stone. You feel the last sounds fade, the wind's whisper, the rustle of your blanket, the slow murmur of your heart. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to ask. Key, have already received everything you didn't know you came for. Key, you sleep, not to escape, but to return, to merge, to rest once more in the mountain's breath. Asterisk, in the cave. Time has slowed to the point where sound itself seems reluctant to move. You awaken, not because of noise or light, but because something in the air tells you it is time. The silence is so complete that even your breath feels disruptive. You sit up slowly, not from sleepiness, but out of reverence. Every gesture becomes deliberate. You shift your weight with care, knowing that even the smallest sound is significant. The echo of your motion returns after a moment, like it had, to travel through something sacred before coming back to you. Here, nothing is immediate, everything is earned through stillness. You reach for a small stone and gently let it fall. The sound it makes is not sharp, it's whole. It rolls, pauses, and finally rests with a sound that resonates longer than it should. It's as though the cave caught it and held it for a moment before releasing it back into silence. You listen, not only with ears, but with skin, with ribs. The cave is not echoing, it's answering. You begin to understand the quiet language carved into the stillness of ancient air. Every sound, even a whisper, is a question. Every silence is a response. You walk barefoot to the entrance, where the outside wind greets you gently. It doesn't push, it brushes, it moves around you, checks in on you, then continues. You feel it graze your cheeks, tug at your hair, circle your shoulders. It doesn't try to carry you. It merely says, I am here. You breathe it in, letting the cold fill your chest like a gift. You breathe out slowly, and the wind seems to pause, listening to your offering. A tease, it's not a conversation. It is communion, back inside. You lie down again, not to sleep, but to hear. The cave has many voices, but they are soft. Drip somewhere deep. The dry settling of dust. The warmth of your breath against stone. They do not cry out. They announce nothing. They exist only to remind you that you're part of this place. Now, you're no longer meditating. You're participating. You're present, not as a visitor, but as one of the cave's thoughts. Your mind grows quieter. No thoughts knock loudly anymore. They enter softly, if at all, and leave without resistance. You are learning to think like the cave, without hurry, without grasping, without noise. You are no longer trying to interpret what you hear. You are simply receiving it. And what you receive is not instruction, it's invitation. Be still. Be slow, be stone. You stretch out again, arms wide, not as an act of comfort, but of openness. You are not guarding anything, not even your own silence. You close your eyes, and even with them closed, you see shapes, shades, memories, not of events, but of feelings. A time when the world moved more slowly. Or perhaps you simply remember how to feel what has always been moving beneath the noise. The drip continues. The cave exhales with you. The mountain listens. You no longer think in sentences, but in breath. Not in goals, but in pauses. You feel like you've touched something holy. It has touched you back, not with hands, but with absence. You are not empty. You are spacious. You are not without sound. You are full of echoes waiting to rise. Even your sleep is different now. Doesn't begin or end, it drifts. It moves like dust suspended in light. Like the hush between one breath and the next, you close your eyes, not to escape the world, but to fall into the one beneath it. The world that waits. The world that holds. The world that hums when sound learns to wait. And in this sleep, your body doesn't vanish. It dissolves into listening. It becomes part of the breath of stone. You are not dreaming anymore. Remembering. And what you remember is not a story, it's a silence that never needed words. Asterisk. The morning unfolds, not with brilliance, but with restraint. The sun doesn't flood the cave. It strokes it gently. Thin beams creep in, touching only the closest stones, revealing veins of mineral in soft gold. You sit in that edge light, letting your back absorb what remains of yesterday's warmth. It's not fire, it's a memory of fire. The stone radiates, it slowly, modestly, like someone whispering, "I remember you." You lie against it, as if listening for a pulse. It welcomes you without asking anything in return. You trace the rock with your fingers, following invisible lines. There are stories carved into the stone, but they don't speak loudly. You must feel them, not read them. You find ridges that tell of water long gone, of pressure and patience, of silence older than sound. This is not a journal. It's a skin. And your touch is not intrusion, it's recognition. You close your eyes and let your fingers speak. The cave answers in stillness. You reach for your food, a small piece of bread, dry and dense and chew. It slowly, not as a task, but as a ceremony. Each bite is a prayer, each swallow a gesture of presence. The water from your flask tastes sharper now, clearer, like something drawn straight from the belly of the earth. You are not nourished by food alone. You are nourished by slowness, by texture, by the act of being here while doing the simplest things with reverence. A sound rises from within you, a soft hum. Tea, you didn't choose it. It came, slips from your chest and out through your lips like smoke. It meets the stone and becomes more than a sound. It becomes vibration. The cave holds it, doesn't bounce it back, stretches it into the walls, into the floor, into memory. You keep humming, eyes closed, hands on your knees. It is not a song. It is a joining. You are not singing to the cave. You are singing with it. The warmth starts to fade as the sun climbs higher. The light shifts, becomes thinner. You wrap the blanket tighter and rest your head against the stone. The cold is not unwelcome. It reminds you of what is real. That warmth is a visitor, and coolness a host. You lie there without fear, knowing the cave does not demand comfort, gives meaning to it. You are not resisting the chill. You are feeling it. That is enough. You let your mind wander, but it no longer strays far. It circles inward now, like water spiraling into its own depth. You remember hands, voices, not names, not places. Impressions, they rise, drift, vanish. You do not chase them. You let them pass, because now even memory obeys the cave's rhythm. Nothing rushes, nothing clings. Everything moves with grace. You hear the wind again, faint but steady. It hums along the entrance, not entering fully, just reminding you it's there. You picture it like a friend waiting just outside, letting you know that the world still turns, but you don't have to turn with it. Not yet. You are allowed to remain still. And in this stillness, you are not falling behind. You are falling deeper. You close your eyes again, pulling the blanket over your shoulder, your hand still resting on warm stone. The fire is gone, but its ghost remains in the floor, in your skin, in the softness behind your ribs. You are no longer cold. You are filled, not with heat, but with presence. It's a kind that does not need flame to be felt. You sleep, can cave, hold you once more, not because it must, but because it chooses to. And you, without effort, choose to be held. Asterisk, you awaken in the middle of the night with no sound, no movement, just the awareness that you are being watched, not by eyes, but by presence. You lie still, heart beating gently, eyes open to the cave's ceiling, where blackness presses down in layers. It is not heavy, but thick, a sky of stone above you, cut by cracks, shadows, and soft arches. You stare into it like you would the stars, searching for meaning, not in constellations, but in texture. There is a comfort in that darkness. It sees you, not for what you are, but for how still you've become. You do not move. You simply breathe, and in doing so, feel your breath reach the ceiling, press into the quiet, and return to your chest changed, as though the air up there carries some message from the past, dropped gently into your lungs. You close your eyes and open them again. Nothing has changed, and yet everything feels softer. This is the kind of darkness that holds. It does not threaten, it embraces. The cave above you is not a ceiling, it is a witness. You sit up slowly, your blanket slipping down your shoulders. The cold brushes your back, reminding you that you are not dreaming. The fire is out, the floor is cool, your skin tingles from the stillness. You stand and walk barefoot to the center of the chamber. Here, you raise your head again to the ceiling. You lift your arms not in worship, not in ritual, but in curiosity, as if your fingertips could touch a memory etched in. Stone dot, your voice rises, not as words, but as breath shaped into a soundless question. And though the ceiling does not answer with language, it replies in patience. It holds your silence like an elder holds a child's hand, not leading, not correcting, just being there. You lower your arms and sit again. The rock above doesn't move, but it feels alive. It has seen every fire, every breath, every dream surrendered to this space. And now it sees you. You begin to hum again, softer this time, a note held in your throat like steam. The sound climbs the air and disappears into the shadows above. It does not echo. Rest. You stop humming and listen to the stillness that follows. The absence is louder than any noise. It hums back, not with tone, but with warmth. You are no longer wondering what the cave remembers. You are part of what it will remember next. You lie back down in your place, your body curving into the indentation you've created over time. The blanket folds over you with familiarity. You turn your head slightly, one hand resting palm up on the stone, the other across your chest. You breathe slowly, each inhale shallow, each exhale long. The ceiling remains above you, silent and vast, but now you feel no distance. It is not above, 'tis around. Sleep comes with the next breath, doesn't pull it, welcomes. Your thoughts drift up, tracing the lines in the stone above you. You do not fear them, you do not chase them. You let them vanish into the black. The cave receives them, the ceiling holds them. They do not need to return. And as you fall asleep, you understand something that cannot be said, only felt. The cave is not your shelter, it is your mirror. And the ceiling does not watch to judge, it watches to remember. And now it remembers you. You awaken with the unmistakable sense that something has connected, not outside but within. Haya, your body feels lighter, as if you've left something behind in sleep. You stretch your arms and feel how slowly they move, like silk through water. There is no urgency, only rhythm. You sit upright, blanket pulled around your waist, and the first thing you notice is the air. It's different. It holds something invisible. A thread, a current, a pull. You breathe in and feel it draw into your chest like a cord being tugged. Gently from beyond sight, you rise and walk to the entrance. Outside, the valley stretches in layered blues, mist floating like breath from the earth itself. The sun is still low, its light pale and hesitant. You step onto the ledge and close your eyes. X. You spread your arms, not to fly, but to feel. The wind touches your palms, your neck, your lips, circles around your ribs, and reminds you, you are not alone. Something ancient has taken hold of you, a presence that has followed you for days. You are part of something now. You kneel at the edge of the cave, hands on the stone. You do not speak, but the wind hears you. The stone hears you. The silence between things hears you. Okay. And the answer, not with words, but with feeling. A warmth in your sternum. A pressure behind your eyes. Single tear falls not from sadness, but from contact. You brushed against the invisible thread that binds all things, and it has acknowledged you. You remain kneeling, unmoving, for a long time. The sun rises slowly behind you, but you do not turn. You stay with the thread, following it deeper within. You breathe with it. You let it show you what cannot be explained. You feel your heart slow to match it. You feel the wind echo your exhale. You are no longer watching nature. You are within it, like a root beneath the ground, like water held in a stone. Eventually, you stand and return inside. The cave feels larger now, not because it has grown, but because you've stopped shrinking. You see the walls, not as limits, but as hands. You walk to the place where you've slept, and the floor welcomes your weight like a friend. You sit and close your eyes again. The thread is still there. You do not need to chase it. It wraps through everything. And you are enough now to feel it fully. You place your hands on your chest, your breath steady, your spine aligned. You do not speak. You do not hum. You only sit. And in that sitting, you become part of the cave's silence. You feel the thread extend from your ribs into the stone, into the wind, into the roots of trees you cannot see. You feel how it binds you to all those who have ever rested here. You are not just part of nature. You are part of memory. Sleep will come again soon, but now you do not seek it. You do not wait for it. You rest in its prelude, the space where day fades and dreams prepare to rise. The thread holds you. You are not suspended. You are grounded. You are not drifting. You are connected. This is not emptiness. This is fullness without weight. You lie down again, hands resting on the floor beside you. The stone is cool, but you do not flinch. You do not wrap tighter. You let the air pass through you. Let the cave breathe with you. The thread hums, the cave holds, and you, without effort, fall into the deepest sleep of all, not because you are tired, but because you are complete. Morning arrives as a hush rather than a proclamation. No sudden light, no triumphant birdsong, just a slow unfolding of silver mist drifting into the mouth of the cave. You sit with your knees drawn close, blanket wrapped loosely, and watch the world stretch itself awake. Far below, treetops sway gently, their movements synchronized with something you cannot see. You wonder if they too are breathing. You wonder if forests exhale together, their leaves rising and falling with the pulse of something older than weather. You breathe in, imagining your lungs joining them, not as intruder, but as fellow living thing. You close your eyes and picture the roots beneath those trees, miles of them, intertwined, silent, slow. Their conversations happening over years. They do not shout, they do not hurry. They speak in minerals, in moisture, and rhythm. And here, seated high above, you feel part of that rhythm. You have no bark, no leaves, but your breath carries water. Your bones carry stone. You are not a stranger to the forest below. You are its echo. The wind returns, curling up the cliffside like a climbing vine. It doesn't enter the cave directly yet. Swirls near the entrance, pulling strands of your hair into motion, then withdrawing like a shy guest. You reach out with one hand and feel it pass through your fingers. It's cool, but not empty. It carries scent, moss, earth, pine, and it carries stories. Not the kind told in language, but the kind felt in the gut. You listen with your skin inside. The cave watches you with the same stillness as always. But something has shifted. You no longer feel like a visitor. You feel like a pause, a breath between the trees, a held note in the song of the mountain. You move more slowly now, not out of fatigue, but because speed feels out of place. You are the stone's rhythm, the wind's weight. You have become a comma in the sentence of the world. You eat slowly. A piece of dried fruit, a sip of water. Nothing tastes like it did before. Everything carries more presence, more memory, more silence. You chew with awareness, swallow with gratitude. You wipe your hands on your thighs and rest them on the stone beside you. That small gesture feels ancient, sacred. You've stopped trying to label these moments. Simply live them. You lie on your back and let your arms fall open. The ceiling above is faintly lit now, speckled with veins of mineral that shimmer. When you move your head, you stare at it for minutes or hours. Time is too soft here to measure. You count your breath instead. Inhale, pause, exhale, stillness, and in that space between movements, you feel something holy, not religious, not supernatural, just whole. Eventually, your eyes close not from weariness, but from peace. Don't try to sleep. You let it arrive the way mist does, without explanation. You fall into it like a stone slipping beneath water. No splash, no ripple, just sinking. Just rest. Just a return. Asterisk later that day. Light returns to the cave in delicate shapes. It filters through the entrance in soft ribbons, catching on dust, stone, and breath. You sit in the glow, hand outstretched, trying to catch it. But of course, you cannot. Light is not for holding, it is for filling. You let it dance across your palm, between your fingers, over the curve of your wrist. It warms you only slightly, but it touches something deeper, something you cannot name. You close your hand gently, not to grasp up, to feel the absence it leaves behind. You trace the edge of your shadow on the cave floor with your fingertip. It is longer than you remember. It stretches away from you like a memory you haven't met yet. You lie beside it, chest to stone, and feel the warmth of your own breath return from the surface. Everything here reflects, but never sharply, never quickly. Reflection in the cave is like watching water settle. It takes time. It waits until you stop asking. You sit up and watch the light shift again. It is not in a hurry. It doesn't race. Across the walls, it glides. It hesitates. It blesses every stone it touches with brief attention, and then moves on. You begin to understand that even light knows how to leave without regret. You do not feel sad watching it go. You feel grateful it came. You smile without realizing. It's the kind of smile made only of breath. You walk barefoot to the wall where the light lingers longest. You place your palm flat against it, warm, rough, immovable. You feel your pulse in your fingertips and imagine the stone has one too. You lean your forehead gently against the wall and close your eyes. You do not pray. You do not ask. You simply join. Your breath becomes the breath of the cave. Your stillness, the stillness of the stone. Your warmth, a temporary offering returned. To the earth, the light dims slowly, sliding off the wall like watered-down skin. You step back and watch it fade. The shadow returns. The silence returns. But this time, you are not left with less. You are left with more. More quiet. More space. More softness. You sit again, wrap your blanket around your shoulders, and exhale into the cooling air. The cave holds you tighter when the light fades. You listen to nothing. And in that nothing, you hear everything. A drip in the distance, a gust passing. Over the entrance, the faintest creak of the earth settling. None of it alarms you. These are not interruptions. These are reminders. You are not outside the world. You are beneath it, within it, cut. Part of its rhythm now. The day ends without climax. No sunset floods the chamber. No dramatic close. It's just stillness. It's just the return of shadow and the slow wrapping of dark. You lie down, pull the blanket to your chin, and press your cheek into the stone. It is no longer cold. It is known. You close your eyes. The cave closes its own and return. You dream of roots, okay? Slow, unmoving roots that stretch far beneath the surface, winding around stone, water, and time. In your dream, you are not watching them. You are them. You feel soil press against you like breath. You feel darkness, not as emptiness, but as belonging. You do not grow upward. You grow inward, deeper, slower. The cave cradles your dream-like hands, cupping a flame. You are not falling. You are descending into knowing. You wake with your hands pressed flat against the stone, as if your body tried to hold the dream in place. The air around you is cool. Still, the fire hasn't been lit in days. And yet, your chest feels warm. You sit up slowly and notice the dust your fingers stirred spirals in ash and memory. You follow their pattern with your eyes, wondering how many others before you woke with the same dream. How many left traces invisible to all but silence. You rise and move toward the entrance, stepping carefully around your belongings. You don't need them now. You step into the morning light, which falls across the cave like a veil. Outside, the valley is silent, waiting. You kneel at the threshold and touch the ground. It feels softer than before, not in texture, but in invitation. You press your hand to the earth and whisper your name, not out loud, in breath, in thought, and the mountain does not echo. It absorbs. You remain there, palm to soil, forehead bent. You do not ask for permission. You do not offer thanks. You simply share space. You and the stone. You and the wind. You and the deep, slow language of unmoving things. The air wraps around your shoulders. The light rests on your back. You are still, and the world continues. But for a moment, you are at its center. When you rise, your knees crack softly. Your shadow stretches long behind you, bending along the curve of the cave. You follow it back inside, back to where the shadows began. The warmth of your breath lingers in the air as you walk. You sit, once more, in the space you've worn smooth. The stone beneath you carries your shape now. It knows you. It remembers you, not by face or voice, but by stillness. You touch the wall beside you, pressing your fingertips into its ridges. You close your eyes and imagine your name etched there, not in letters, but in breath. You feel your heart beat in your hand, steady and soft. You breathe again. The cave answers, not with sound, but with presence. Surrounds you. It doesn't speak. It rests. And you, resting within it, understand that names fade. But stillness lingers. You lie back down, arms stretched, blanket gathered, the ceiling. Above you is black and infinite, but it does not loom. It watches. It waits. You feel your body grow heavy. not with exhaustion, but with gravity. You are not burdened, you are grounded. Your breath slows again. Can't, the cave matches it. Inhale, stillness. Exhale, stillness. The rhythm of stone. You begin to drift, and with each breath, your name fades further into the air. Not erased, dissolved. You are not being forgotten. You are becoming something larger than memory. The earth holds you now, not by name, but by presence. Asterisk, you awaken in silence, so complete that even your heartbeat feels intrusive. You remain still, unwilling to disturb the air. Your eyes remain closed, not out of sleep, but reverence. You can feel the cave around you like skin, the way the air hugs your ribs, the way the stone remembers your warmth. You open your eyes slowly and look at the darkness above. It is not empty. It is full. It's full of everything you are not. It's everything you no longer need to carry. You sit up with care, as if rising from sacred ground. Your hands press into the floor, your back straightens, and you breathe not to survive, but to return. The air enters slowly, cool against your teeth. It leaves like a whisper you didn't realize you were holding. You look around the chamber, and for a moment, you do not recognize it. The space feels larger, not because it has grown, but because your fear has shrunk. You move to the wall and lean against it. It holds you without shifting. You close your eyes and listen not to the cave, but to the space inside your own chest. It's that hollow place where longing used to live. It is quieter now, softer, as if the silence you've been listening to has finally taken root within you. You are not alone in that silence. You are that silence. You are not visiting peace. You are becoming it. The drip returns, somewhere deep within. A single note, a reminder. You smile. It is not a message. It is a presence. You place your hand on the ground and feel its cool truth. The cave does not lie. It does not flatter. It simply exists. And in that existence, it accepts. You close your eyes again and feel your thoughts flatten, not disappear. Settle like leaves on still water. You do not light a fire. You do not eat. You do not speak. You sit with the cave, breath matching the dark. The minutes stretch, or maybe they vanish. There is no difference here. You are not counting time. You are being counted by stillness. You wonder if the cave feels your presence the same way you feel its weight. And you believe it does, because the air around you feels shaped now, not by walls, by knowing you lie back once more, arms folded, palms open. You feel your shoulder blades sink into the floor. You feel your hips align with stone. Key, you feel the space between thoughts stretch wider. You are not falling asleep. You are dissolving into a version of yourself that cannot be spoken aloud. You are what silence becomes when it finds a home. And as your breath slows further, you realize you no longer crave answers. You do not seek meaning. You are not gathering wisdom to carry. You are empty, and in that emptiness, you are full. Your chest rises, your ribs stretch, your eyes close. There is no ritual now. We return. The cave surrounds you with its final lesson. Nothing lasts, not even names, not even light, not even silence. But what you become when you are still that remains, that echoes, that continues long after breath has faded. Asterisk, there is a kind of dust that exists only in places where time is allowed to rest. In the cave, this dust is not mere sediment, it's memory in physical form. It lines the seams of stone with the patience of centuries, never stirred unless moved by reverence. When you awaken, you notice it glinting faintly in the gray morning. Light settled thick in the corners, caught in the veins of the wall, untouched by wind or rain. You kneel beside a small patch of it and brush your fingers through it gently. It lifts, briefly, as if startled, then settles again. This dust does not forget. It carries in its particles the footfalls of those who came before, the smoke of ancient fires, the prayers whispered into silence long before your arrival. You remain still, watching how it moves. There is no rush in its rhythm, even disturbed. It returns to order without complaint. You scooped a small amount in your palm, lifting it to the light. Coat your skin in a soft film, darkening the lines of your hand like ceremonial ink. You do not wipe it away. You let it mark you. Because here, every contact with the earth is sacred. You are not above it. You are becoming part of it. You sit cross-legged in the dust, your eyes on the stone basin where the water drips in slow rhythm, a sound that never seeks attention but always commands stillness. The dust stirs occasionally at the drip's soft impact, forming circles, ripples of memory in mineral form. You begin to feel as if you are being watched, not by a presence, but by the place itself. The walls, the floor, the dust, they see you, not with eyes, but with stillness. They remember you already. The light changes again, attenuating, but noticeably. Deeper gray enters the mouth of the cave, veiling the valley below in mist. You rise slowly and walk to the threshold, taking a final look before night inevitably returns. The dust on your hands glows faintly in the dim light. You press one palm to the wall before you, a gesture of offering, a silent agreement, and then you return to your place within. You lie down on the stone and feel it accept your weight. The dust settles around you, in your breath, in your hair, in your dreams. You close your eyes, knowing that you no longer carry time in hours. You carry it in particles. The dust has held the silence of centuries, and now it holds yours too, without resistance, without sound, without end. You dream of dust drifting in sunbeams, of footsteps you never took, of voices that never spoke. The silence in your sleep is thick. You drift deeper into the floor. You are not lying on the ground. You are becoming ground. Your heartbeat slows. Your breath thins. You dissolve into sediment, into stillness, into the memory of stone. The wind returns before you expect it, but this time it does not enter like a guest. It enters like a storyteller one who has wandered far and returned with news not meant to be spoken, but felt. It spirals through the cave's mouth in long, careful threads, wrapping itself around your shoulders, your ankles, the arches of your feet. It does not chill, it reveals. It opens memories you did not know you carried. You sit in your blanket, unmoving, letting it pass over you like pages being turned by unseen hands. Outside, the sky is layered with motion, clouds drifting like sleeping giants, light slipping through them in thin, golden shafts. You rise and step to the mouth of the cave, blinking as the wind presses gently into your chest. It's not a push, it's a question. What do you carry that is no longer yours? What part of you is ready to be taken? You close your eyes and exhale deeply, letting the wind take what it will. You have no need to name it. The mountain knows what to keep. Your feet find a dry patch of stone just outside. You stand there for a moment, letting the wind play with your edges. Hair, fingers, thoughts. You don't resist. Resistance is a language the cave has taught you to abandon. You allow your balance to shift slightly with each gust, adjusting like a branch learning how to bend without breaking. You feel a lightness in your chestnut joy. Exactly. Not relief. Something simpler, a loosening. You return inside and let the silence welcome you again. But now it feels different, cleansed, stirred, like a pond after the surface is broken. You sit in the shadowed part of the cave, wrapped again in stillness, listening to the echoes that remained. The wind has left, but its shape still lingers in the air. It's a kind of sculpture made for movement. It's visible, but present. You lie back, staring at the ceiling, watching the dust settle once again. The The wind may carry things away, but it always returns what matters. You feel it in your breath, now in the rise and fall of your ribs. You fall asleep with a strange comfort that not everything must be understood to be received. Asterisk tonight. Your thoughts turn to heat not because you're cold, but because you've realized that even this unmoving stone was once alive with fire. The cave, with all its solemn stillness, was not always this way. It was born in flame, in eruption, in chaos. What now cradles you with such quiet grace was once liquid violence, cooling into form. You sit in awe of it. This truth, that even stillness is forged. You move to the wall and press your hand against it, imagining the heat that once coursed through it. You picture rivers of molten stone folding over themselves, hardening with time. You think of how pain can become structure, how what once burned can one day hold. You find comfort in this, that even the most violent beginnings can become sanctuaries. That peace is not always born from peace, but from surviving the opposite. You remain seated for a long time, your hand still on the wall. You feel your own warmth seep into the rock. It doesn't reflect it, it absorbs it. In that act, you feel a sacred reciprocity. You have received so much here. Now, you are giving something back, not grand, not loud, just presence, just warmth. The night thickens, and the fire is only memory. You lie back down, this time with a deeper sense of trust. Not in safety, but in process. It's the process that turns burning into bearing, flame into stone, chaos into stillness. You breathe in, knowing that the same fire once raged in you, and now it holds. Asterisk, the sky above the mountain opens slowly, like a book being read without urgency. You sit at the entrance and watch it happen, one star at a time, each one pulsing like a breath in the fabric of night. They do not shout their presence. They appear with patience, as though rising not from space, but from memory. You don't know the names of these constellations, but you don't need them. Their meaning is not in classifications, in witness. You wrap the blanket tighter and lean back against the mouth of the cave. The stone behind you is colder now, but your body no longer resists. You let it cool your skin. Let it remind you that even in silence, there is life. You watch the stars grow bolder, brighter, clearer. The longer you look, the more there are. It's like thoughts rising from deep stillness, like ancestors arriving one by one. Don't you begin to feel the night expand inside you? Not darkness, but space. You inhale slowly and feel the air stretch your ribs wide. You exhale and watch your breath vanish into the night. Somewhere, an owl calls. A low, hollow sound that rides the air like a thread. And then silence returns, not as absence, but as embrace. You lie down facing the stars, the stone beneath you, the blanket around you, the sky above you, everything in perfect tension. You sleep, not below the stars, but within them. Asterisk, you no longer. Notice the exact moment when your breath begins to slow. It simply does, as if the cave itself has gently taught your lungs a deeper rhythm, one more aligned with the stillness of the earth. Lying flat on your back, hands resting on your abdomen, you feel the weight of serenity spread across your body. There is no conscious effort now to quiet the mind. Your breath is not managed, it is inherited. It enters like mist, leaves like fog, and stays between the two as a subtle hum beneath your skin. You are not meditating. You are simply participating in silence. Your body doesn't need to be told to relax. It remembers. The fire is gone. Its scent barely lingering in the ashes, but you do not need it. Warmth is no longer about heat. It is presence. It is memory. It is the way your body molds into the shape of stone, and the way the floor seems to receive you without question. You run your fingertips across the ground beside you, not seeking texture, but confirmation. The stone is smooth in some places, coarse in others, but everywhere it feels like truth. Unchanging, unmoved, undemanding. Eyes remain half-lidded as you stare into nothingness and feel like, for the first time, you are truly breathing without needing a reason to. There are no thoughts sharp enough now to pierce the surface of your rest. No questions knock on the edge of awareness. You are not drifting. You are held, like a leaf on still water. Cave has not changed shape, and yet it feels more spacious. Or perhaps it's you, less crowded, less armored, less defined. What once was breath you managed is now breath that manages you. It flows through you like something ancient, like air passed down from those who once slept in this very space. You shift slightly. It's the sound of your blanket folding against stone, the only sign that time still exists. The walls do not echo back with noise, only with presence. It's as if the cave prefers to reflect weight rather than sound. It receives you, not as a guest, but as a memory returning to its source. You sense the depth beyond your sight, the hollows where no firelight has reached for centuries, and you no longer wish to illuminate them. What is unseen here is not unknown, it is simply sacred in its silence. The ceiling above, barely visible, no longer feels like an overhead boundary. It feels like another ground, another surface upon which your breath could walk if it wanted to. You feel suspended between two firm hands of stone, one beneath, one above. Cradled, not crushed. Held, not judged. The air is dry, but gentle. Every inhalation feels like a promise, and every exhalation feels like the cave answering back, quietly, affirming your place within it. Outside, you imagine the wind has stilled too, that even the air beyond these walls is aware of your stillness, that the birds have not yet sung, and the trees have chosen not to creak. In this silence, everything waits, not in anticipation, but in reverence. Your breath continues, soft and regular, like the rise and fall of a lullaby sung without voice. You could stay like this forever, not because you must, but because there is nowhere else to be. You have found the center of the pause. You do not sleep. You simply close your eyes, and in doing so, merge further with the cave. Not as a visitor, not as an observer, but as part of the silence itself. You are no longer someone lying in a sacred space. You are a sacred space in the shape of someone lying. Your thoughts dissolve like salt in water. There is no surface tension anymore, There is only immersion, and in that immersion, you finally understand the deepest form of breath is the one that doesn't ask why. It simply enters, rests, leaves, and returns again. The stone beneath you no longer feels like a surface, feels like memory made solid, as though, in your stillness, the ground has begun to remember the exact contours of your body, the curve of your back, the length of your legs, the width of your shoulders. You lie there not as weight, but as a presence the cave has anticipated. You shift slightly, and the floor receives you like a friend who's kept your shape carved in waiting. It doesn't adapt to you, you adapt to it. And yet, it feels as if both of you have made an unspoken agreement to meet in the middle. You sit up slowly, blanket gathered around your waist, and place your hands on the ground again. There's a warmth there that shouldn't exist. It's not from fire, not from friction, but from stillness itself, as if the quiet has begun to radiate. You press your palms more firmly and close your eyes, allowing your breath to match the tempo of something deeper, something geological. You imagine the pulse of tectonic plates beneath you. It's the breath of magma far below, silent and unseen. The cave doesn't offer you these images. They rise from within you. It's unbidden, familiar. The light outside has not yet entered fully, but a faint blue-gray veil outlines the mouth of the cave. You walk toward it slowly, each step a meditation, your souls knowing each crack of the stone, now by memory. When you reach the entrance, the air greets you like a slow tide returning. It curls round your ankles, slides up your spine, and pauses at your neck like a breath held too long. You exhale, and in doing so, feel yourself expand outward. The valley below doesn't demand your attention. It offers its presence and waits for you to do the same. You sit at the edge, knees pulled to your chest, arms wrapped around them. From here, the world looks like it has exhaled to mist, lifting from trees, distant peaks, blushing under early light. The wind is absent, the clouds are still, and everything feels draped in the same blanket of memory the cave has shared with you. You don't speak, you don't need to. You and the world are finally breathing at the same pace, returning inside. You lie once more on the ground, your shoulders settling into the spot it is carved after nights of surrender. The stone does not resist. It does not yield. It remembers. You close your eyes, one hand resting over your chest, the other flat on the floor beside you. And for a moment, you feel as though you are no longer lying down. You are being held in a mold that was always meant for you. One formed not by fire or water, but by breath. The drip echoes from the basin again. You count 3 slow drops, then silence, then 2 more, then a pause long enough to forget the rhythm till it returns. You feel those drops somewhere inside. You, each one a reminder that even stone remembers movement. That stillness isn't the absence of motion, but the patient recording of it. You breathe in, and the floor seems to sigh beneath you. You begin to understand now that the cave doesn't simply receive memory, it preserves it. Not in words, not in symbols, but in shape, in pressure, in presence. Your breath is being written into the stone, one exhale at a time, not to be read, not to be found, but to remain, quietly, permanently, lovingly. You smile slightly as your eyelids grow heavy, not from exhaustion, but from knowing. Knowing that you've become part of something timeless, that when you leave this place, your shape will linger, not as a ghost, but as gratitude, as imprint, as breath etched into earth. Asterisk, you awaken in the middle of the night, but not fully, a semi-conscious drift between worlds. Your body is still, but your awareness has lifted slightly, like mist rising from stone. In this half-dream, you notice something different, not a sound, exactly, but a vibration, a subtle hum beneath the ground. It pulses gently, matching the beat of your heart, yet slower, ancient. You press your hand flat to the floor and feel it not as motion, but as resonance, as though the cave is not sleeping, but breathing beside you. The hum isn't musical, cellular. It reverberates in your fingertips, your ribs, your jaw. You don't know if it's the earth itself or something within you finally tuning in, but it is there. It's persistent, low, and strangely comforting. You close your eyes again and focus entirely on that rhythm. Thoughts evaporate, questions vanish. All that remains is that soundless pulse, the sacred thrum beneath the surface of awareness. You begin to feel less like a person and more like a note, single tone held in a larger song. You do not fear this sensation. You welcome it. You've spent so long trying to hold still that now, being part of something moving beneath you feels like invitation. You are no longer resting on the cave. You are resting in its music. Asterisk, you stand at the threshold for a long time, longer than necessary, watching the valley below bloom with color and light. The cave behind you is still, silent, and whole as it was when you arrived. And yet you know, without needing to turn, that something is different, not in the rock, in you. Your back rests against the cool frame of the entrance one last time, and you exhale with the weight of someone leaving a place that was never really a destination, but a part of yourself you hadn't visited in years. The sky yawns open before you, and the air tastes not like departure, but like release. You are not saying goodbye. You are remembering what it feels like to carry home inside you. You take the first step with reverence, not out of hesitation, but as a ritual. Each footfall is deliberate. Each touch of heel and toe to stone is a kind of offering. The ground you walked up now receives you differently, with familiarity rather than resistance. You pause, often not out of fatigue, but to look back not with longing, but with gratitude. The cave fades behind the bend of the path, veiled by rock and time. It does not disappear. It retreats into you. You carry it now, not in your pack, not in your hands, but behind your ribs, beneath your breath, within the slow cadence of your thoughts. The forest returns. The world returns. Sounds become sharper, light, louder. You hear birds again, distant water, the whisper of leaves brushing against each other with no knowledge of your silence. And yet, none of it overwhelms you. You've become slower, but not slower in movements, slower in mind. You walk through the trees like a shadow, like a memory re-entering the world it once left. You pass others and do not speak, not out of rudeness, but out of reverence for what still echoes in your chest. You sleep that night in a small shelter far below the peak. A roof, a blanket, a fire you no longer need, but light anyway out of kindness. The bed is soft, yet unfamiliar. You miss the shape of stone. You miss the weight of silence. But you do not ache for it, because now you've learned the secret the mountain whispered over so many nights. The cave was never just a place. It was a tuning fork. And now that you are in tune, the music plays wherever you rest. In the days that follow, people speak to you, but you answer more slowly. Their words move quickly, like water over glass, while yours rise like breath through mist. Some notice, most don't, but a few pause, tilting their heads, sensing something beneath your quiet. They ask where you went, and you smile not because you can explain, but because you no longer need to. They could never see the silence that shaped you, but they feel its outline in your stillness. You sit beside rivers now and listen not to the water, but to what it reflects. You walk through crowds without absorbing their chaos. You speak only when something stirs inside, and even then, your words come out softer, like they were first shaped against cave walls. You breathe slower. You watch longer. You wait more. Not with impatience, but with curiosity. You've learned the value of pausing before speaking, the worth of not filling every space. There are moments, the deepest part of night, when you wake and expect to see stone above you. You reach out for the cool edge of rock, for the echo of a drip, for the rhythm of firelight flickering on ancient walls. But what you find is the memory of it all, folded neatly inside your breath. And that's enough. You smile in the dark, eyes closed, and whisper to no one, I remember. And though the cave remains carved in the mountain, unmoved and indifferent, a second cave now lives within you. A stillness that doesn't fade. A silence that knows your name. A breath that rises from the earth and lives behind your sternum. It is there when you kneel to pray. It is there when you rest your head. It is there when the world becomes loud and you need a place to go without going anywhere. The cave is with you because you didn't leave it behind. You became it.